Değerli izleyiciler, Akademik Dünyaya Açılan Kapılar serimizin 3. bölümüne hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Bugün İsviçre'nin Basel şehrinde Basel Üniversitesi'nin Eğitim, Bilimleri Enstitüsü'nde çok değerli bir konuğum var. Bizi bugün burada ağırladılar. Bizi gerçekten misafir ettiler. Biz bu durumdan çok memnunuz. Sizler de bu sohbetin daha fazla kişiye ulaşması için kanalımıza abone olmayı ve videoyu beğenmeyi unutmayın. Dear viewers, welcome to the third episode of our series, Opening Doors in Academia. Today we are broadcasting from University of Basel in Basel, Switzerland with a distinguished guests. Please like and subscribe to our channel to help academic content reach a wider audience. Bugünkü konumuz Doktor Tomas Kaqinari. Yerinize hoş geldiniz diyoruz. Sizi burada ağırlamaktan büyük mutluluk duyuyoruz diyecektik ama bugün siz bizi ağırladınız. Gerçekten bunun için teşekkür ederiz. Öncelikle kendinizi kısaca tanıtabilir misiniz diye soracağım. Dr. Tomas Kaqinari, welcome to our broadcast. Thank you for your hospitality again. Could you please begin by introducing yourself briefly?
Thank you, Hüseyin, for inviting me to be part of this podcast. I'm very pleased to take part in this and discuss the topic with you. My name is Tomas Kaqinari. I'm a researcher at the University of Basel in Switzerland. I finished my PhD just some months ago on the topic of teaching in higher education during the first initial lockdown period of the COVID-19 pandemic, looking at the usage of digital tools in relation with different psychometric variables like self-efficacy, attitude, and so on of lecturers. Here at the Institute of Educational Sciences, I am also scientific coordinator of the doctoral studies for around 40 doctoral students. And I'm also lecturing in the master studies at our institute. And our Institute of Educational Sciences is a cooperation between the University of Basel and the University of Applied Sciences School of Education for Teacher Education.
Okay, I understand. I hope you will be a very best researcher in the future. Congratulations for your PhD. You just completed your PhD. I hope you will be successful both in postdoc education in the future. If you want, we can start with the first question.
Thank you, yes.
Bugünkü ana başlığımız zaten daha önce duyurmuştuk ama ana başlığımız şu olacak. Yapay zeka çağında yıkım ve dijital dönüşüm. Yani algoritmik bir çağda eğitimi yeniden düşünmek. Bazı alt başlıklarımız var. Bunlar yapay zekanın öğretim ve öğrenme süreci üzerine etkileri, kurumların dijital dönüşüme yanıtı, etik sorumluluklar ve eğitimcilerin ve araştırmacıların değişen rolleri. Bu başlıklarımızı ve bölümün bazı yerlerinde Türkçe ve İngilizce olacak ama genel olarak Türkçe devam edeceğiz. Çünkü İngilizce konuşmaların altyazı olarak ekleyeceğiz. Today, the main topic of today's episode is a disruption on and digital transformation in times of AI, rethinking education in an algorithmic age. Our highlights include the impact of AI on teaching and learning, institutional responses to digital transformation, ethical responsibilities, and the evolving roles of educators and researchers. Şimdi ilk sorumuzla başlıyoruz. Birinci sorumuz şu olacak. İsviçre Yükseköğretim Kurumlarında dijital dönüşümle ilgili gözlemlediğiniz en belirgin değişimler neler? My first question is that what are some of the most notable changes you observed in Swiss higher education institutions with regard to digital transformation?
Thank you for this interesting question. Both the COVID-19 pandemic and since 2022 with the emergence of generative AI tools, the digital transformation in higher education institutions was accelerated because the changes in the technology advancements, but also the pandemic, needed a response from the higher education institutions. And the response was on two different levels. First of all, it was a technological response, building more capacities for the increased usage of very different tools. And on the other hand, it was building capacities within persons, meaning the learners and the lecturers as well. I think the COVID-19 pandemic was different, of course, to the disruption through AI, because the pandemic needed a response made necessary due to the lockdown. So everyone was closed at home, and education needed to continue even when all sat at home during that time. So the answer was technology, and to use the internet to continue education. On the other hand, the disruption through AI was of a different nature, because the disruption was actually not the technology itself. The disruption was the change of the behavior related to academic activities. So students, in the first place, used the AI tools as a support for their academic studies. And because of that reason, the higher education institution needed to respond to that, to make sure that the integrity actually of the research, but also of their studies, which often includes writing papers or writing-based assessments, needs the response to make sure the integrity of the university is kept safe. So to answer the questions, a digital transformation is an ongoing process, and different events such as the COVID-19 pandemic, but also AI, can accelerate this process on different ways.
Thank you for your answer. I think that you studied your lesson very well. You had a very successful PhD. You are expert. Maybe in later time we will be in good episode more in your professional area. It was very good answer for us. Bu değişimle beraber eğitimcilerin rolü ve pedagojiye dönüşüyor. Tabii bunu da söyleyebiliriz. Bunun hareketle ikinci soruya geçeceğiz. Gerçekten araştırmacımız çok güzel yanıt verdi. Alongside these changes, the role of educators and pedagogy are also evolving. Building on this, my second question, ikinci sorumuz şu olacak. Pedagojik açıdan eğitimciler yapay zekayı insan merkezli öğrenmeden, ödün vermeden nasıl entegre edebilirler? Our second question, in terms of pedagogy, how can educators effectively integrate AI without compromising human-centered learning?
It won't compromise human-centered learning, learner-centered education or arrangements, actually, because in my view, AI is here as an assistant in education for both teachers and learners, and it will in many ways help to personalize and individualize learning, and for the teacher be a sort of co-pilot navigating this very complex field of educating children to adolescents or even adults, that gets increasingly complex also through technology advancements, also societal changes. So however, AI has to be used with a critical stance, with also a reflective stance. So the question should always be, is it the right time and case to use AI for both teachers and learners? And on a metacognitive level, in how far does it do I perceive that it really helps my learning or my teaching, or to also not fall into a trap of over relying on tools with AI. And on a side note, I think it will be more and more everyday life that tools that actually are based on AI and machine learning are integrated in our workflows, and we possibly in the future won't be able to distinguish actually what is AI based and what is not. When it comes to human-centered learning, it's very important to be transparent about the usage of generative AI and to use it, as I said, as more an assistant or a co-pilot or AI buddy that is part of the human-based collaboration in education, and not technology-based.
I understand. You really have a good answer. Thank you again. That's a great answer. We will talk about it later. Also in next question maybe. Burada eğitimcilerin yapay zekanın insan merkezi öğrenmeden ödüllerle nasıl entegre edebilir konusunda gerçekten iyi bir yanıt verdi. Fakat bununla beraber bizim etiksel ve adalet konularında da önemli tartışmaları beraberinde getiriyor. Bu bağlamda üçüncü sorumuzu sormak istiyorum aslında etiksel konu deyince. Üçüncü sorumuzda eğitimde yapay zeka uygulamalarının ortaya çıkardığı etik veya adaletle ilgili hangi zorlukları görüyorsunuz diye soracağım. Actually, in the process of integrating AI with human-centered learning, we learn many things. However, these technologies also raise important discussion around ethics and equity. In this context, I have a question related to ethical questions, ethical problems. My third question is that what ethical or equity-based challenges do you see emerging from AI adoption in education?
Yeah, it's a phenomena that is already known before AI, let's say, the digital divide. So, meaning not only the access to infrastructure, hardware and software, and the tools that are built on that, but the digital literacy and competencies to use it for an educational purpose and for to advance in one's own development, actually. And there is a risk that the gap, the digital divide, could transform or further widen the gap in AI or through AI, because it also needs different competencies to purposefully use AI in educational or even professional contexts. And I'm sure that individuals that are not AI, that do not own sufficient AI literacy and competencies are left behind in the end, I'm sure. Therefore, it is our duty as researchers and educators to make sure that AI literacy competencies are embedded in the curricula and our teaching, and to make students ready for this this next disruption and step of the digital transformation in education and beyond, as I said, in the professional world.
Okay, thank you for your answer. But also, we use some generative AI like ChatGPT to prepare manuscript. But in sometimes they fabricate the references. Maybe you memorized or you experienced it before. And this kind of generative AI in education, in manuscript preparing, people have to be careful, in my idea. Do you really believe like this or different idea? Because we experience and we always talk about this situation. If we use generative AI like ChatGPT, they give wrong information and they provide wrong references. And if you want to prepare manuscript, you have to be careful. Şimdi bu tip sıkıntılar, etiksel durumlarla beraber bunların çözümünde de, öğretmen eğitiminde de bir şeylerin yapılması gerekiyor ve öğretmen eğitiminin dönüşmesi kaçınılmaz görülüyor. Bu noktada 4. sorumuzda şunu soracağız. Geleceğin öğretmenini yapay zeka destekli sınıflara hazırlamak için öğretmen yetiştirme programları nasıl dönüştürülür diye soracağız. Burada ben şundan da bahsettim aynı zamanda. Yani bu etiksel problemlerin yanında üretken yapay zeka, mesela ChatGPT gibi durumlarda biz şunu da görüyoruz. Yani verilerin uydurulduğunu ya da kaynakların yanlış olarak aktarıldığını, bu da makale yazma sürecinde de genç araştırmacıların dikkatli olması gerektiğinden bahsediyorum. Bununla beraber İngilizce olarak da şununla devam edelim, araştırmacımıza soralım. Addressing these challenges may require a transformation in education. At this point, my fourth question is that how should teacher education programs evolve to prepare future educators for AI-enhanced classrooms?
So there is no definitive answer for this at the moment because, and this is also shown by my research with two colleagues, one from an UK university and the other from Spain University, of how higher education institutions responded to the emergence of AI, that we should foster a mindset of continued adaptation to AI and also reflective practice, because especially when looking back at the few last years, these generative AI tools developed and so in different ways, audiovisual material, and also, of course, text-based generations, that we are experiencing repeatedly mini disruptions because new models bring new opportunities and sometimes also risks for education. And therefore, as I said, have a reflective stance as an institution, have also a strategy how to handle these repeated mini disruptions when it comes to the same tool or also different. And as I said previously, integrate AI literacy, ethical considerations, and in the end, very practical, the questions how actually can a generative AI be integrated in the classroom in an accessible way that always has the focus on fostering learning and reaching specific learning goals. As in every case, I think, of using technology, the learning goals are should stand in the center of every effort. And it's the same for AI-based tools.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Thank you for your great answer again. Şimdi bizim burada öğretmenlerin durumlarına baktık ama bununla beraber kurumsal düzeyde de uygulanacak bazı politikalar ve stratejiler de büyük önem taşıyor. Şimdi bu açıdan bakarsak 5. sorumuza da şunu soracağım. Kurumsal düzeyde dijital dönüşüm yönetiminde başarılı bulduğunuz politika veya stratejiler nelerdir? Now, as I understand, and we have to do something in teacher education programs. Also, of course, institutional policies and strategies also play a critical role. Looking at this from this perspective, my fifth question is that what institutional strategies or policies have you seen succeed in managing digital transformation?
Thank you for this question, and my answer will also be based on this ongoing research I'm doing on the response of higher education institutions to the emergence of AI. And the preliminary results have shown us that a clear leadership is very crucial, and with designated working groups that have expertise in digital transformation, and if possible, those new tools. And also, alongside with clear leadership, also the centralized guidance. So students as well as educators have to know where they get resources they can trust on the topic. And then also very important, besides this centralized guidance, there should be also support for local adaptation, because every faculty, field, and subunits of a higher education institution has different needs and perspective maybe on the topic, while maintaining an overall institutional coherence. So it is top down and bottom up at the same time when it comes to developing scenarios in how to integrate AI in the institution. And of course, for both students and lecturers, teachers, consider training programs and AI literacy resources. And also important in times of disruption, not to fall into a sort of hype or fear, but to follow clear steps and strategy on how to handle such disruption prompted through technological advancements.
Okay, thank you for your detailed answer. Burada kurumsal açıdan stratejilerimizden bahsettik. Araştırmacı açısından baktığımızda da bütün bu sürecin yönlendirmesinde belirleyici rol olabilir. Biz burada şimdiki sorumuzda araştırmacının rolünü soracağız ve 6. sorumuzu şu şekilde ben sorabilirim. Yapay zeka temelli inovasyon bağlamında eğitim araştırmacılığının rolü sizce nasıl değişiyor? İngilizce'de bu soruyu hemen söyleyelim. We know that there are some institution strategies and policies are successful. The perspective of educational researchers can be decisive in shaping this process as well. My 6th question related to the role of researchers is that how do you see the role of educational researchers shifting in the context of AI-driven innovation?
It's an interesting question because an innovation is inherently a change process that is aimed to facilitate conventional practices and in the end to make them somehow better. And an innovation is does not equal the integration of technology X per se, but to create the processes more efficiently and effective in the end through this new technology. And the role of researchers is to observe, of course, as you and me are doing. And based on this data that we collect, come to evidence-based solutions and recommendations for higher education institutions. Ideally, researchers that are concerned with the topic are also in such specialized working groups that I would also recommend to implement in higher education institutions when it comes to responding to disruptions like AI, and co-develop policies and practices with administration, for example. I also would recommend to facilitate this localized approach, so to support local units at universities on their specific integration of AI, to cater to their needs actually, and for the university to evaluate how this whole process is ongoing through also research guided, let's say, or researcher guided evaluation of the process. In short, make evidence-based decisions, and we are working to build this evidence for the development of the policies and, as you said, this AI-driven innovation.
Hı-hı. I also can add this. In our manuscript, in the last part of manuscript, there's a section, discussion and some implication. We can help researchers in the place of practical implication section. In practical implication section, we can some suggest to our policymakers, including students, teachers, curriculum makers, researchers, educators, maybe in institutional process, in industry. If researchers read this kind of place in the manuscript, I believe that it will help in their final project, if in their future project. I can add this contribution. Şimdi burada araştırmacının rolünü söyledik. Burada ben şunu da ekledim. Yani burada makalelerimizde de biz şunu belirtiyoruz aslında. Tartışmanın en son bölümünde çıkarımlar bölümü var ve bu çıkarımlar bölümünde biz sonraki araştırmacılara önereceğimiz durumlar oluyor. Burada öğrenciler için, öğretmenler için, müfredat geliştiriciler için ya da sanayideki kuruluşlar için, eğer bir teknoloji üzerinde çalışıyorsak teknoloji geliştiren şirketler için de bizim paydaşlara bazı önerilerimiz oluyor, bazı çıkarımlarımız oluyor. Burada da bize düşen araştırmacılarda gerçekten bu bölümü iyi hazırlamak ve sonraki gelecek araştırmacılarda bu konulara destek sağlamak bizim için son derece önemli. Burada son olarak da kişisel olarak sizi en çok heyecanlandıran veya endişelendiren yönleri merak ediyorum aslında. Finally, on a personal note, I'm curious about what excites or concerns you most. 7. sorumda geleceğe bakınca eğitimde yapay zeka ile ilgili sizi en çok heyecanlandıran ve en çok endişelendiren noktalar nelerdir diye soruyorum. In my last question, looking forward, what excites you most and what concerns you most about the intersection of AI in education?
Okay, thank you. So what excites me is that like every disruption that breaks routines that seem at the moment of having them as the right way of teaching and learning, the opportunity to rethink, in this case maybe assessment or new ways of learning. What also excites me is that generative AI challenges the idea of this individual intellectual labor that we were so sure about could never be replaced. But the past few years have shown that generative AI is capable of producing something that beforehand the human intellect was necessary to do so. Even though, of course, what it generates can't be trusted. In that we agree. So, in the way forward, how do we assess student work, and how could we change the way of teaching and learning, also through AI? And I see a great potential of, as I also said, personalized, individualized learning in higher education institutions. What concerns me is that the response of the emergence of a technology should not be also technology centered. In the center should stay the pedagogy in the first place. And with great interest, I'm following these developments as a researcher as well, meaning the response of education institutions to AI and further disruption. Yes.
Thank you for your answer. I really appreciate your anxieties and concerns about AI in the future. And I am sure that all over the world people have same anxieties and concerns, because assessment is not easy. If you want to give some kind of homework to students, maybe we can give up giving some homework to students, because if you want to work with AI, you don't need to prepare homework again. in this technology countries in this age. Sayın Doktor Tomas Kaqinari'ye katkılarından dolayı çok teşekkür ediyorum. Umarım bu sohbetimiz yapay zeka çağında eğitimdeki değişimlere dair sizlere yeni perspektifler kazandırmıştır. 7 soruluk burada gerçekten güzel yanıtlar aldık. Sizler buradaki yanıtları İngilizce olan bölümleri altyazı olarak takip edebilirsiniz. Burada ben konuları çok daha uzatmamak için özetlemekten vazgeçtim. Önceki videolarda özetlemiştik ama süre biraz daha uzun olduğu için şimdilik biraz daha kısalttık. Burada son sözleri soracağım şimdi kendisine. Burayı da İngilizce söyleyeyim ki anlasın. Many thanks to Dr. Tomas Kaqinari for sharing his insights with us today. We hope this conversation has offered new perspectives on education change in the area of AI. And finally, I want to ask him, what is your final word about this conversation?
As I just finished my PhD studies, I wish every young researchers to be also bold and do the right thing for our humanity. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I will repeat same thing. I believe that you will be the most successful persons among the world in the future. I hope you will find a good postdoc opportunity in your life with your family, with your child. Kanalımıza abone olmayı, son olarak bunu söyleyelim. Abone olmayı ve videoyu paylaşmayı unutmayın. Bir sonraki bölümde görüşmek üzere. Please subscribe to our channel and share this episode. See you in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.